This is how Thanksgiving at the White House really goes down, and it all starts with these two turkeys checking into the Willard Intercontinental Hotel in Washington, D.C. But this is far from the strangest thing that's happening for Trump's first Thanksgiving of his second term. Right now, the kitchen staff are preparing a meal without critical personnel, all while following special procedures designed for nuclear missile maintenance. And if anything goes wrong, from a security breach with the cranberry sauce to an oven failure at 2 a.m., the President of the United States might have to explain why he's eating McDonald's for Thanksgiving. Right now, in the basement of the White House, there's a sous chef staring at a spreadsheet that looks like a military invasion plan. It shows the exact minute every ingredient arrives, which oven each dish occupies, and the precise temperature for 20 different items that all have to finish at exactly 3 p.m. on Thursday. She's been working since Monday morning. She won't leave until Friday night. In 96 hours, she and 29 other kitchen staff will serve the most scrutinized Thanksgiving dinner in America. But before any of that can happen, before a single potato gets peeled or a pie crust rolled, the entire operation waits on two birds currently walking into a hotel. See those turkeys walking through the lobby of a five-star hotel? They're not the strangest guests the Willard has ever had, but they might be the most expensive. The National Turkey Federation picks up the tab for two separate rooms, complete with plastic sheeting, special feed stations, and handlers working in shifts to make sure these birds live a life of luxury until Monday. Both birds get identical treatment because of what happened in 2008 when the primary turkey, Pecan, got sick the night before. The backup, Pumpkin, had to step in with zero preparation. Since then, redundancy is built into every aspect of this absurd operation. Now, here's where the logistics get genuinely complex. These aren't normal birds. By the time they waddle into the White House, they weigh 45 pounds, nearly 3 times what your average Thanksgiving turkey weighs. They're bred to look impressive on camera, but they can barely walk. These birds have been training for months. Handlers expose them to strobe lights, sudden noises, crowds of people screaming. They play them music. Classical works best. Country makes them aggressive, and pop music seems to confuse them. The training matters because these turkeys will face 2,500 people, live television cameras, and the President of the United States. A turkey having a panic attack on live TV isn't just embarrassing. It's a security situation that requires Secret Service intervention. But here's the part nobody talks about: Monday morning security screening. There is a Secret Service agent whose only assignment that day is not scanning for threats or protecting the president. This agent's sole purpose is to physically inspect the turkey. They check under the wings for concealed objects. They inspect the feet for sharp implements. The turkey, meanwhile, just stands there, occasionally gobbling, unaware it's undergoing the same security screening as a foreign head of state. And the screening isn't just about physical safety. They also have to make sure the birds won't embarrass the president. Which brings us to the fascinating protocol. The birds haven't eaten for 12 hours after they leave the hotel. This has nothing to do with tradition and everything to do with probability. A turkey defecating on the president during a live broadcast would become the defining image of his presidency. So they fast. The handlers have calculated exactly how long a turkey can go without food before it becomes lethargic versus how long it takes for its digestive system to empty. Exactly 12 hours is the sweet spot. 11 hours risks an accident. 13 hours risks a turkey too tired to stand properly for photos. But while everyone's focused on these celebrity birds, the real preparation is happening in the White House kitchen, where something unprecedented is about to occur. For the first time since 1961, a person critical to this whole operation is gone, and that absence is about to turn Thanksgiving into something the White House has never seen before. At 5 a.m. on Monday, while the turkeys are getting their final grooming at the hotel, the White House kitchen transforms into a cross between a crime lab and a war room. They're not even cooking yet. They're processing evidence. Every ingredient for Thursday's dinner has to pass the kind of security screening usually reserved for packages sent to the president. Take the cranberries, for example. You might think Ocean Spray just delivers a truck to the White House. But here's what actually happens. The Secret Service knows which specific bog in Massachusetts grew those berries. They know the names of the workers who harvested them. They've run background checks on the truck driver, not just criminal history, but social media, financial records, known associates. If that truck stops anywhere except pre-approved gas stations, those cranberries get rejected. One unauthorized detour for coffee, and there isn't any cranberry sauce on Thanksgiving Day. When ingredients finally arrive, watch what happens. First, exterior inspection for tampering. Tiny holes, resealed packages, anything that's off. Then, metal detection. Then, chemical swabbing for toxins, biological agents, and radioactive materials. Then, temperature verification, because improper storage could mean contamination. Only then do the contents get transferred to the White House containers, while the original packaging gets photographed, documented, and destroyed. All this for cranberry sauce that half the table won't even touch. But here's what makes Monday truly insane. While the kitchen is treating groceries like evidence, the upstairs communications office is having a meeting about turkey puns. Multiple staffers with college degrees are sitting in the Roosevelt Room debating whether foul play is too obvious or that Gobble Hard is a Christmas movie. Someone else points out that's copyrighted, so that gets scrapped. The policy team has to verify that no joke accidentally contradicts administration positions on agricultural subsidies. The chief of staff has to approve whether these puns are presidential enough. While staffers are vigorously finishing up these jokes, everything stops for the turkey's arrival. And yes, they arrive in a motorcade, a climate-controlled vehicle for the birds, a veterinarian riding along in case of medical emergency, and a backup car with backup handlers ready to spring into action. This convoy for poultry costs more than most Americans make in a month, and the precision required for what happens next borders on the absurd. The podium must be exactly 8 feet from the turkey platform, close enough for photos, far enough that an aggressive turkey can't reach the president. The platform itself has been specially reinforced because these 45-pound birds would destroy the White House lawn that tourists pay taxes to maintain. There are contingency plans for rain, a tent, wind, shields, extreme heat, fans, and turkey escape. Somewhere in a Secret Service filing cabinet is an actual protocol titled Turkey Escape Procedures. And no, you can't file a Freedom of Information Act request for it. People have tried. At exactly 11 a.m., the show begins. 2,500 people who've been background checked weeks ago fill the South Lawn. Snipers position themselves on the roof because that's standard whenever the president is outside, even for this. The president emerges from the Oval Office, walks to the podium, and prepares to do something that would sound insane if you explained it to anyone from another country. He's about to officially pardon a turkey. Not metaphorically, not symbolically. He's going to use the same legal language presidents use to forgive federal crimes, except the recipient is a 45-pound bird. This tradition supposedly dates back to Lincoln, but that's a lie. President Truman started getting gift turkeys from the poultry industry in 1947 as a marketing stunt. Kennedy refused to eat his in 1963, saying, "We'll let this one grow." But it was George H.W. Bush in 1989 who made it official, turning a photo op into a sacred tradition that now requires military-level planning. The president delivers his prepared jokes about pardoning and gravytude, while 46 million other turkeys are sitting in freezers in preparation for Thursday's dinners across America. The pardoned turkey will retire to a farm where it will spend the rest of its days living a life of luxury. The whole thing takes 20 minutes, but those 20 minutes just cost the kitchen 6 hours between security sweeps, staff being pulled for ceremony duties, and kitchen lockdown during the event. They're now catastrophically behind schedule, and it's only Monday. The real nightmare hasn't even started. Tuesday morning, the White House kitchen becomes a crime scene where nothing's actually gone wrong yet. The turkey that will actually be eaten, not the pardoned celebrities, arrives with more documentation than a nuclear weapon. The Secret Service has this bird's entire biography: which farm raised it, what feed it ate every single day, the social media posts of every worker who touched it. They've checked if anyone at the processing plant posted anything remotely anti-government in the last 6 months. One Facebook rant about taxes, and that turkey doesn't make it to the White House. By Tuesday night, they're doing math that makes no sense anywhere else. 17 people are confirmed for dinner. They're cooking for 50. Think about that. They're preparing food for 33 people who don't exist. Why? Because the president's cousin might show up. Someone could have a new girlfriend. Trump and Elon Musk might have rekindled their bromance. The White House cannot, under any circumstances, run out of food. Running out of mashed potatoes while the president's mother-in-law is holding her plate would become a scandal. So they'll prepare 300 pounds of turkey, knowing they'll throw away 250 pounds. But here's what makes this year different from every Thanksgiving since 1961. There's no executive chef. Christetta Comerford ran this operation for 29 years. She knew that Brussels sprouts take 3 minutes longer on humid days. She knew which chef carved faster. She knew exactly how long gravy should sit before developing a skin. She retired last year, and nobody's been hired to replace her. So now you've got 5 sous chefs who each think they're in charge. It's like 5 people trying to conduct the same orchestra while reading different sheet music. And Wednesday is when this leadership vacuum becomes genuinely dangerous. Because Wednesday is when the timeline becomes as precise as a Rolex watch. The turkey must enter the oven at exactly 2 a.m. Thursday, not 2:05. That makes everything late. Not 1:55. That dries out a 45-pound bird. Exactly 2 a.m. It needs 13 hours at 325 degrees, including resting time, to be ready at 3 p.m. Every other dish works backward from that moment. Sweet potatoes start at 8 a.m., green beans at 11 a.m. If one element runs 5 minutes late, it cascades through everything. The gravy won't be ready. The sides will be cold. The president's helicopter schedule gets delayed. That's why Wednesday afternoon, they do something called the walkthrough. Every chef physically rehearses their Thursday movements like actors blocking a play. Where does the turkey rest while being carved? Who carries what upstairs? Which route do they take? The math here is insane. The White House has dumbwaiters, small elevators for food, but they only hold so much. Someone calculates it takes 4 trips to move everything from the basement kitchen to the dining room. Each trip takes 3 minutes. That means starting at 2:48 p.m. to serve at 3 o'clock. Except wait, drinks also need the elevator. Now it's 5 trips starting at 2:45. But the salad has to go up cold at 2:55, which conflicts with trip 4. Someone suggests using the main elevator. Security says absolutely not. That's a breach of protocol. They'll have someone carry a 45-pound turkey up 3 flights of stairs before they'll compromise the president's secure routes. But here's the detail that perfectly captures the absurdity of White House life. Wednesday night, the chief usher sits down with a calculator and creates an invoice. Trump is going to pay for this meal from his personal account. Every potato, every ounce of gravy, every dinner roll gets itemized like a restaurant check. State dinners are taxpayer-funded because they're official business. But Thanksgiving with family? That's personal. That comes out of the president's $400,000 salary. So while the kitchen staff works their 60th consecutive hour without overtime pay, they're preparing a meal their boss will be billed around $10,000 for after the meal is done. The last thing they do Wednesday night shows us just how precise this operation has to be. They check the weather forecast. Not for the ceremony, that already happened. but because atmospheric conditions affect cooking. Humidity changes how long bread takes to rise. Dry air makes turkey cook faster. A drop in barometric pressure affects how sauces reduce. 5 minutes here or there wouldn't matter in your kitchen. But when you're coordinating 20 dishes to finish at the exact same moment, 5 minutes is the difference between perfection and catastrophe. It's now 2 a.m. on Thanksgiving morning. In the basement of the White House, an oven timer pierces the silence. The turkey goes in. For the next 13 hours, someone will not leave this room. Not for coffee, not for the bathroom without a replacement. If the power flickers for even just a second, they need to know. If the temperature drops 2 degrees, they need to adjust. By 5 a.m., the kitchen looks like controlled chaos, but it's actually calculated precision. Every burner has been assigned. Every oven has a schedule taped to it. Every surface has been designated for specific dishes. The dishwashers are already behind because dirty dishes accumulate faster than they can clean them. The garbage fills every hour. And here's the stupid part. Taking it out requires leaving through security and re-entering through security, turning a 5-minute task into a 25-minute odyssey. What people don't understand is that 3 separate operations are running simultaneously, and they all have to sync perfectly. The main kitchen handles turkey and hot sides. The pastry kitchen finishes 6 different pies. The family kitchen on the second floor becomes the wild card station. Someone is always vegan now. Someone is always gluten-free. And yes, just like a normal family, where a kid refuses to eat anything except Dino Nuggets and Heinz ketchup, they prepare for that too. The temperature logging alone would make a normal chef quit. Every dish gets checked every 15 minutes with an infrared thermometer. The mashed potatoes must stay at exactly 140 degrees. At 139, they're too cold. At 141, they develop a crust. Someone is literally standing there with a thermometer and a clipboard, recording numbers that will be filed with the Secret Service. These aren't suggestions. They're federal food safety requirements that become exponentially more critical when you're feeding the leader of the free world. By 2 p.m., the final countdown begins. This is where those missing executive chef problems become critical. 5 sous chefs are trying to coordinate the most important 2 hours of the week without anyone actually in charge. Hot dishes go into warming cabinets that maintain exact temperatures. Cold dishes go into refrigerated carts. Each dish is covered, labeled, and assigned to specific staff members. There's a chart showing who carries what, in what order, using which route. The turkey itself requires 2 people and travels on a special cart with shock absorbers. Dropping the president's turkey isn't just embarrassing, it's a crisis that would make international news. At 2:45 p.m., the migration begins. First wave, plates and silverware. Second wave, cold dishes. Third wave, hot dishes. Fourth wave, the turkey. Each wave is timed to arrive exactly when needed. The dining room staff upstairs receives each dish, checks it off a master list, and positions it according to a diagram that shows exactly where everything goes. The cranberry sauce goes here. The gravy boat goes there. Everything has a designated spot determined by 200 years of tradition that nobody dares to change. At exactly 3 p.m., Trump sits down. One chef is assigned to watch only his plate. Not to serve him, there are butlers for that, but to ensure everything is perfect and, more importantly, safe. The food gets one final temperature check. Sweet potatoes, exactly 140 degrees. Turkey, minimum 165 degrees. These aren't preferences. They're federal requirements that become even more critical when the food is going to the president. For the next 2 hours, service proceeds at exactly 55-minute intervals. Salad course ends at 3:55. Main course ends at 4:50. Dessert finishes at 5:45. This timing isn't arbitrary. It's based on decades of White House dinners and the optimal pace for digestion and conversation. Too fast and guests feel rushed. Too slow and the food gets cold. The kitchen maintains a holding pattern, ready to send up seconds. prepared for any emergency, but mostly just waiting for it to end. By 5 p.m., Trump pushes back from the table and compliments the meal. He has no idea that someone inspected a turkey's armpits for weapons on Monday, or that 200 pounds of backup turkey are currently in the dumpster. And the kitchen staff? They're just thankful it's over. Bye for now.